morning. Today we're going to read Chapter 8 of the Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane. Yesterday we left off where the old man, this is called the old fisherman, propped Edward up in the crate and he was letting him view the whole ocean from the boat as they were coming back to shore after they went fishing. And remember, Lauren said, I'm going to bring him home to Nellie. Okay, so let's read today and find out what happens. On land, the old fisherman stopped to light a pipe, and then, with the pipe clenched between his teeth, he walked home, carrying Edward atop his left shoulder as if he were conquering a hero. The fisherman balanced him there, placing a calloused hand at Edward's back. He talked to him in a soft, low voice as they walked. "You'll like Nellie, you will," said the old man. "She's had her sadness, but she's an all right girl." I'm going to stop right there. Notice he said, "You're going to like Nellie. She's had her sadness, but she's an all right girl." I'm wondering if Nellie, if something's bad has happened in her life or something very sorrowful that's made her really sad. He said she's had her sadness. And then it makes me think, I'm wondering if Lawrence is bringing Edward to Nellie to try to cheer her up. He knows that she's had sadness before. I'm wondering if he's bringing her this rabbit to maybe make her feel better. What do you guys think? Talk about it with a parent, okay? I'll give you a few minutes. Okay, let's keep reading. Edward looked at the small town blanketed in dusk, a jumble of buildings huddled together, the ocean stretching out in front of it all, and he thought that he would like anything and anybody that was not at the bottom of the sea. "Hello, Lawrence," called a woman from the front of a shop. "What have you got?" "Fresh catch," said the fisherman. "Fresh rabbit from the sea." He lifted his cap to the lady and kept walking. "There you are now," said the fisherman. He took the pipe out of his mouth and pointed with the stem of it at a star in the purpling sky. "There's your North Star right there. Don't you never have to be lost when you know where that fellow is." Edward considered the brightness of the small star. Do they all have names? He wondered. "Listen at me," said the fisherman, talking to a toy. "Oh, well, here we are then." And with Edward still on his shoulder, the fisherman walked up a stone-lined path and into a little green house. "Look here, Nellie," he said. "I've brought you something from the sea." "I don't want nothing from the sea," came a voice. "Aw, now, don't be like that, Nell. Come and see, then." An old woman stepped out of the kitchen, wiping her hands on an apron. When she saw Edward, she dropped the apron and clapped her hands together and said, "Oh, Lawrence, you brung me a rabbit." "Direct from the sea," said Lawrence. He took Edward off his shoulder and stood him up on the floor and held out his hands and made him take a deep bow in the direction of Nellie. "Oh," said Nellie, "here." She clapped her hands together again, and Lawrence passed Edward to her. Nellie held the rabbit out in front of her and looked him over from tip to toe. She smiled. Have you ever in your life seen anything so fine?" she said. Stop and look at this picture for a second. Look at that old woman. She's eyeing Edward up and down, and she's looking at him like it's just the most wonderful thing that she has ever seen, right? Now, what do you think you can notice by just looking at this picture? Or maybe about the characters, about their personalities. What do you notice? I'm going to stop and let you guys talk with your parents, okay? Let me tell you some of the things that I notice. Look at Lawrence over here. Look at the way he's standing. And he has his hands in his pocket. And look at him just eyeing Nellie as she's looking at the rabbit. That makes me think that he just really loves his wife. He brought her something home that he knew that she was going to like, that maybe he was hoping it would cheer her up, because he did say she's seen some sadness in her time. And he's just looking at her almost like he's proud that he was able to bring something home to her. That's what I get when I'm looking at the picture. And then when I look at Nellie, I look at somebody who looks very humble, who looks like she's so grateful and fortunate to have Lawrence even bring her a rabbit. And we know we can only see the back of Edward, but I can guarantee that the front of him does not look very well. We know that a lot of hair is missing from his ears. He was down at the bottom of the ocean for almost a year, so he's probably looking pretty ragged. But to Nellie, she thinks he's the finest looking thing that she's seen. I wonder why she's thinking that. I wonder why she thinks he's just so perfect. She said, "She's beautiful." She does not know that Edward is a boy, right? Let's keep reading. Edward felt immediately that Nellie was a very discerning woman. Do you know what the word discerning means? That is someone that has a good judge of character. Someone that can see things and can look at people and know what kind of person they are. So Edward thought, she's a very discerning woman. "She's beautiful," breathed Nellie. For a moment, Edward was confused. Was there some other object of beauty in the room? "What will I call her?" "Susanna?" said Lawrence. "Just right," said Nellie. "Susanna." She looked deep into Edward's eyes. "First off, Susanna will need some clothes, won't she?" Okay, so Edward was a little bit confused when she said she's beautiful. Edward knows he's a boy. He knows his name is Edward. And Nellie's saying she's beautiful. So I have some questions over here on the bottom right hand side. I want you to think, how do you think Edward feels about getting his name changed to Susanna now? So no longer is he Edward. Now they're going to start calling him Susanna. And they think he's a girl. How do you think Edward feels about that? Do you think he's upset about that? Or do you think maybe he's just happy that he is not at the bottom of the ocean anymore and he'll take whatever he can get? I just want to know, what are your thoughts? And then the second question, Lawrence had said on page 61 that Nellie has had her share of sadness. We don't know what that sadness is. We don't know if the sadness was recent. We don't know if it happened years ago. We just know that Nellie has had her share of hard times or something sad. So do you think this has something to do with why she is so happy to get Edward? I want you to think about that, okay? Lawrence said she's had her share of sadness. Do you think maybe that's why he brought her the rabbit? Right away he said, "I'll bring this home to Nellie." Do you think that's why she's so happy to get Edward? I want to know your thoughts, okay? I want you guys thinking deeply, okay? All right, have a good day.